We are taking significant steps in progressing our decarbonisation pathway. Just some examples. We have locked in a number of renewable purchase power agreements, two significant ones, one for Antofagasta and a second one at our Kazakhstan operations, which will greatly reduce our scope 2 emissions in our business. We've also entered into a multi-year supply collaboration with General Motors for cobalt, assisting them in their transition to growing an electric vehicle fleet business. And as we also announced earlier in the half, we've partnered with Lifecycle, which is a recycling company promoting the circularity in battery raw material supply chains, and that we believe is a large step in our continued growth in our recycling business. We have a coal business which provides the transition fuel as we decarbonise in this world to allow countries and the world to decarbonise and still maintain reliable baseload energy. We also have a terrific set of future-facing metals operations around the world, very large copper, very large cobalt, very large zinc, very large nickel producer, global business around the world, providing the solutions that the world needs. Associated with that, a world-class marketing business with a record result for the first half of the year. And again, this providing not only taking opportunities and arbitrage opportunities from the dislocations in the market, but providing a service to the world and to customers who require certainty of supply of whatever commodities they require as the world moves forward. And as a result of that, a business that levers largely off our industrial business, but also as a standalone, provides significant value to our shareholders. And associated with those businesses and totally interlinked to them is our carbon solutions business, which is a real service provider to many customers who require the commodities that we supply through our marketing and industrial business, but with a carbon solution. And we're able to provide that full solution to our customers as we go. And a newer part of our business being our recycling business, as we go forward in the circular economy and the importance of it and the need to ensure that we recycle and provide the commodities needed today and into the future, that those don't only come from primary sources and that we do contribute towards the circular economy and we do give back using the commodities that have already been mined historically. Looking at our priorities for 2022, first and foremost is safety. I did mention earlier we've had 2 fatalities here to date, and it's something that is very difficult to accept as a management team. It's very difficult to accept by our operational management. I know everybody in this company is personally affected when we have an incident like this, and it's something that we will continue to work at because we believe wholeheartedly that this business can be a fatality-free business and will be a fatality-free business. On the climate side, we're progressing very well along our pathway that we've illustrated in previous presentations. Our operational footprint, we spend a lot of time decarbonising our scope 1 and 2 emissions. We spoke earlier in the presentation about some of the renewable PPAs that we've entered into, and there's a number of initiatives along the marginal abatement cost curve that our operational team are working on and implementing as we speak, which are not only carbon reduction projects, but they're also optimization projects for our business. Our scope 3 emissions, we're managing that largely through the responsible rundown of our coal business. That is consistent with a Paris-aligned 1.5-degree scenario, and we are committed to that responsible rundown, and we won't deviate off that path. We prioritise our capex towards our future-facing metals and not towards our fossil fuels business. At the same time, we don't only look inside the fence, but we look outside of the fence. And our supply chains are critical, ensuring that our suppliers and the commodities and inputs that we buy into our business likewise have their carbon footprints not only monitored but reduced as we go forward to ensure that our footprint within the world is reduced going forward. We support all sorts of technologies within the decarbonisation drive. We are putting our own money towards carbon abatement through the CTSCO project in Australia, which is progressing along, and we hope to have that pilot plant up and running in the next few years. And with all of that, we follow a very transparent approach. We ensure that details are provided to our stakeholders to ensure they understand that this journey towards decarbonisation is absolutely clear and transparent for our shareholders to understand that we are committed to it and will achieve our targets and goals. On the financial side, a record half-year result for our group, an adjusted EBITDA print of just short of $19 billion. On the industrial side, that's $15 billion, with the largest proportion coming from coal, and a record in our marketing business with an adjusted EBIT of $3.7 billion, as we foreshadowed. On the balance sheet side, net debt down to just $2.3 billion at the end of June, allowing us to return significant amounts of money to our shareholders, and we are declaring today a top-up shareholder return of $4.5 billion. That's made up of $3 billion in buybacks and $1.45 billion in cash returns to our shareholders. And that is consistent with our capital returns policy that we've outlined in previous presentations and that you'll find at the back of this presentation. That $4.5 billion return to shareholders brings our total 2022 return to shareholders to $8.5 billion, which is an exceptional achievement. On the industrial side, as I mentioned, the real standout this time around has been coal. You'll remember a year ago, the first half of last year, coal's earnings were less than $1 billion, but with the energy crisis and the requirements the world need for stable baseload energy, coal prices have surged. We've also obviously taken over the remaining share of Cerrejón in the early part of January this year, and that's helped underpin this big increase in adjusted EBITDA for our industrial business. Obviously, on the negative side, we do see some headwinds on the inflationary side, as all our peers do and as the market does, and we continue our processes and programs to try to contain those costs, but certainly there are some headwinds on the inflationary side in our mining and processing business. EBITDA margins have remained very healthy, with metals EBITDA margins remaining consistent year on year, and our coal margins, obviously with a higher coal price, have been exceptionally strong. On the marketing side, a record performance for the first half, and in fact, as we've mentioned earlier, we've exceeded our full 12-month guided range of $2.2 to $3.2 billion EBIT, with a $3.7 billion achievement in the first 6 months of this year. And really, it's underpinned by exceptionally strong energy trading performance across the board, which has contributed to the strong performance.